My story is very different from yours. And and I think it just kind of tells us what kind of reach the Healthy Homes program has for different homes. It's very different. This is the condensed version, believe it or not. So I might be here for a bit. So good evening, everyone, and thank you for having me here tonight. I'm here because I strongly, don't cry, she's ready to cry already. I'm here because I strongly believe in this program. I could never have imagined the impact that indoor air quality has on our health. What is the longest amount of time you've gone without sleep? For me, it was over a year. I lay on a hard floor beside my son Tate's bed with a pen, a pad of paper, and a clock, documenting his cough patterns to see if we should go to the emergency room or not, to see if the new medication made any difference. All of the doctors would listen to his chest and say it was clear, no wheezing. Finally, I convinced the doctor for a chest x-ray, and due to the inflammation in his lungs, they loosely determined he had cough variant asthma. Because he needed such a high dose of medication, they thought he may have cystic fibrosis. And he was tested twice for that. I was 6 months pregnant at the time with our second child and feared cystic fibrosis because if one child had it, the likelihood they both would, and their life expectancy would be short. Thankfully, both times the test came back negative. At the height of his sickness, my son was on over 5 medications, taking them 5 to 10 times a day, 2 of them being steroids and 1 that causes suicide in adults. Due to all of the medications my son was on, his growth was greatly affected. He went from the 90th percentile to the 10th. We removed all scented plugins. We stopped using fabric fresheners, changed my son's laundry detergent to scent-free, stopped wearing perfumes and colognes. We had already removed all of his stuffed animals and found new homes for our 3 beloved pets. I scoured every book on child asthma the library had. I researched blogs, medical journals. I made copious notes to discuss various treatments with the asthma clinic. I decided it was time to look outside conventional medicine. I took him to a world-renowned herbalist, a top city allergist, 2 general practitioners, a pediatrician, a respirologist, and a chiropractor for children. At the point I was at, if someone told me it would help if I hung him upside down by his feet, covered him in cow dung while listening to ABBA tunes, I would have done it. One day, while discussing the cough again with our pediatrician, he said to me, "Heather, do you notice how he never coughs that much when he is here?" I agreed that was odd. Then the doctor said to me, "Heather, I think there's something wrong with your house." Looking back, I realized when my husband moved into the house, which I'd been living in for a few years before him, he would complain of nasal congestion, and I would write it off as an allergy to my cats. It wasn't until the doctor mentioned the house again that I was on a mission. I even started ripping down my ceiling like a madwoman. What I found was the absolute worst. The floor joists were covered in black mold. It was our home that was making Tate sick and possibly causing irreversible scar tissue in his lungs and reoccurring ear infections. I had someone in the house within 3 hours. He said the cleanup would be about $15,000. But he would walk us through step by step of how my husband could do it himself. The fellow that came actually had a child himself that had been sick due to mold, so he graciously helped us. My husband had to rent special machinery, wear special suits, use biochemicals, completely cover the room in plastic, and make plastic chambers. Every time my husband would come in and out, he would need to put on a full suit, like a biohazard suit. It was like working with anthrax. It was insane. Tate and I stayed at my sister's house for the duration. My husband's friend graciously helped. The recommendation was to use the biochemical, and they did. But then they read on the internet, which of course is unfiltered, to try bleach. The fumes from the bleach caused my husband's friend to cough up blood for at least a week. That's when I realized how incredibly toxic bleach is, and I vowed never to use it in my laundry again. So now here we are. No mold, new baby, and my son doing a lot better, but still coughing. The baby was having issues of her own. When my daughter was born, she had to sleep sitting up for the first 2 months of her life. Due to congestion, she just couldn't breathe laying down. The next thing we tried was a naturopath. The doctor told me he could help, but basically said, I'm $180 an hour. I can help you. But if you don't do exactly as I tell you, then don't bother coming. Normally, I would have told someone to talk to me like that to take a flying leap. But I'd researched this guy, and he was my last hope. We followed the naturopath's strict dietary recommendations religiously. No wheat, no dairy, no soy, no sugar, nothing in a can, nothing in a carton or Tetra Pak. Everything cooked fresh, could not eat leftovers, and no using a microwave. It was extreme. Try feeding this to a 2-year-old. Our child couldn't even eat a banana. He couldn't go to birthday parties, preschool, grocery shopping, or even to anyone's house, really, or he would see and remember of all the items he couldn't have. We had our son on this diet for at least 2 months. His little body naturally detoxed, and it actually made quite a difference. We continued with many of the items we discovered that are better for you and only buy organic fruits and vegetables. We began to reduce his medications. My son actually now has physical development delays, and it is undetermined if these were due to all the steroid medication or not.